Well, crime surging in the city of Rochester, New York. We bring this up because Neighborhood Scout reporting this. There are 234 crimes per square mile compared to just 36 in the state, with 93% of American cities safer. Again, that's Neighborhood Scout numbers there. Joining us to discuss is New York Republican congressional candidate and retired police chief in Rochester, Singletary. Mr. Singletary, thanks so much for coming on. Obviously, no one would know this area better than you. And when I'm telling you these numbers, 234 crimes per square mile, I mean, how do you respond to that?
I tell you what, it's unacceptable. And the reason why we're here is because of the defunding the police movement. And what it has done in the last 2 years, it has created a void in police departments across this country because police officers are leaving in record numbers because they don't feel supported. Over the last 2 years, they've created a desert. They've demonized, they've demoralized, and defunded cops, and they're leaving in record numbers. In Rochester, we were one of 17 cities that broke homicide records. A city of just over 200,000 people. We had 81 homicides last year. This year, we're currently at 22. We're surpassed what we had last year, and we're on record to repeat 2021 all over again.
Go to control room. Let's go to 3 because I want to show more stats here. I'll go to these crime stats. I'll show you. Neighborhood Scout reporting this, and watch chances of being a victim of property crime in Rochester. They are 1 in 125, and then in New York State 1 in 287. Again, that from Neighborhood Scout. So, again, chances of becoming a victim, that's a victim of rather a violent crime, I'm sorry. But the chance of being a victim of property crime, 1 in 31 in Rochester, 1 in 74 in New York State. That's kind of the stat that I wanted to get to you there. You got a better chance in Rochester. What's happening there?
I tell you what's happening. It's happening across the state here. We have democratic policies and progressive policies that basically have just ruined our criminal justice system. The soft on crime approach from the Democrats is what happened over the last 2 years. They've tried to create equalities for criminals, but they've created inequalities for individuals who are law-abiding citizens here in New York. And it's the progressive policies. I would have never thought as a police chief that I would see the Democratic Party hurt the very community in which is being hurt the most, which is the minority community, because police officers have pulled back as well as across the country. I can tell you, Shaun, as a police chief, that if you don't have adequate staffing, you cannot address crime in any city, whether it's proactive. And right now, they're just barely keeping the lights on with the number of police officers that they have here in Rochester.
Do you have comments or thoughts when you watch how New York City is being handled? Eric Adams obviously once a part of the police force. Crime, though, many say, not under control when you look at the numbers and the stats of it. I mean, we just recently, that mass shooting there at the subway platform. Now by Twitter, he was calling for many to take photographs of officers at subway stations. I mean, how do you see this being handled? Or do you see a little bit of politics draining there into policing?
Oh, absolutely. It's politics. As police chief, I always try to keep politics outside of the department. And what's happening is you have, city council, you have a police accountability board that's interjecting, and nobody's listening to the actual police officers. I remember when criminal justice reform was going to happen in New York State in 2020, and we were on the phone with Governor Cuomo's office at the time and his staff saying, if you do this, you will handcuff police, you will handcuff judges, you will handcuff probation and parole. And that's exactly what happened. And right now we're reaping the consequences of those decisions and actions. And I tell you what, Shaun, the people who are reaping it the most are African Americans and some of the minority communities that we see across the country. As you know, 32% of homicide victims were African Americans over this 2-year period of defunding the police. And it's just cost people their lives.
And something that needs to obviously get under control. I believe that's part of your campaign. Tell us how we can find more about you and your campaign.
Thanks, Shaun. It's Singletary, the number 4Congress.com. Singletary, the number 4Congress.com. Please visit the website and help put a former police chief in Congress.
All right, we'll do some. Chief Singletary joining us live. Enjoy your weekend, sir. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much. Have a great one.